let's dive right into our topic today, which is workflow tips for Unassigned Docs page. So we'll learn just the time-saving, clever ways that you can utilize the Unassigned Docs area for your workflow. Okay, so let me hop over to Pipeline. And we are on our Unassigned Docs page. So let me first talk about what Unassigned Docs is. This page is your holding area for all docs that have not yet been assigned to a transaction, okay, for whatever reason. I'll first talk about how the docs get there, because I'll use that as a premise for really the workflow and all the things that, that are spawned by that, okay? So docs get into Unassigned Docs one of two ways, and there are several different ways within those two ways that they can do that. But I mention those two ways because that's what will determine what color these assign buttons are. So if I upload docs directly to Unassigned Docs, and I'll show you the couple ways in a moment, I'll get a green assign button for those docs. If docs are uploaded through a transaction, then they'll get a blue assign button, okay? If a doc has come through a transaction, it'll be pre-assigned to that transaction, and you can see where it's been pre-assigned here. So those are those two different ways, and that's beneficial because that gives you an additional queue in addition to all the other things that are going on, like maybe a subject or looking within the doc to see, you know, what transaction it belongs to. That gives you an additional queue as far as where this document is bound. Okay? To get them in to Unassigned Docs directly, you would do it either by clicking Upload Docs from the left-hand menu, and when you do so, you can upload normally as you do throughout the system, or by mailing it to your or my unassigned mail drop address. Okay? Each person has their own unique Unassigned Docs mail drop address, just one of them. Okay, so this is mine. Someone else would have a different one. So if I mail something to my Unassigned Docs mail drop address, it's going to come here and get a green button. Okay, so that's how I upload. That's how I get docs directly into Unassigned. To get them into Unassigned through a transaction, there are two different ways. If I'm on a transaction, let me hop on over to one that I happen to have open here. If I'm on a transaction and I mail something to my mail drop, my transaction mail drop address here, and just like the Unassigned Docs mail drop address, this transaction mail drop address is unique also. It's mine only. So if I've got, let's say I've got a colleague in our same pipeline account, John, and he goes to the Bluebird Lane property here, he'll see a different mail drop address than I will. So we've got different unique mail drop addresses. So you don't want to share mail drop addresses between agents or admins or any users, okay? And that's to tell the system that when something is mailed to this mail drop address, it's coming from me and it's going to Bluebird Lane here. It does not get added to the transaction like it does when I upload directly to the transaction. It actually takes a little pit stop. And I just mailed a couple docs here, a few docs to this mail drop address. And I'll see if I reload this page here. Those docs are not down here. They're kind of stuck in this little yellow box here. Really, they're in Unassigned Docs waiting to be assigned, right? I've got 4 transaction docs waiting to be assigned. I can click to assign them now. It'll take me over to Unassigned Docs where I can see those 4 that I've uploaded, okay? So docs that are sent to a transaction mail drop address take a pit stop over in Unassigned Docs until when you go to assign them on, it already knows it's going to Bluebird Lane. That part's done. It really just needs this permission category, right? I can rename the doc as well, but this permission category can't be assigned via email. It has to be assigned manually. So that's why I need to take this. That's why this doc needed to take that pit stop over into Unassigned Docs. Okay. Once I do that, and then assign it on, and then it's actually displayed there down below. Okay. So that's one way I get my docs. Head back over to Unassigned. Get my docs into Unassigned Docs through a transaction when they're in that pit stop stage and have this blue pre-assigned button. The other way is if I'm an agent and I'm on a transaction and I don't have upload docs permission, which is the ability to upload or the permission to upload to a transaction. When I go to add a doc, again, if I'm an agent and I go to add a doc, it's actually going to upload it to Unassigned Docs for me. It's not going to upload it to the transaction because I don't have permission to upload to a transaction. So if I'm an agent and I click upload docs, I'm an admin right now, so it's going to actually take it to the transaction. But if I were an agent, it would actually switch me over to unassigned docs and upload it there with that blue designation for the appropriate transaction from which I'm uploading it. Okay, so that's the other way that I can get those docs into unassigned docs through a transaction. Now, those things in mind, when you understand all of that, you can realize how you can craft your workflow around those different permissions and options, etc. In other words, let's look at a few scenarios. Let's say I've got a kind of a heavy admin staff, heavy meaning sufficiently heavy. So I've got the ability to be able to, let's say, have a point of QA for all docs before they go into a transaction. Okay, so maybe I want all docs to flow through unassigned docs so that an admin can put their eyes on it, go ahead and make sure everything looks okay before it gets assigned on to a transaction. Okay, that could be my workflow. And in that case, maybe I don't give my agents that upload to transactions permission, docs to transactions permission. And that way everything takes its little pit stop over here so the admin can see it, right? Or maybe I train the agents to upload their docs to the transaction, maybe through the sending it through their transaction mail drop address or uploading it directly through the transaction, so that I, as an admin or the group of admins, has this designation here, making it easy to assign through, right? So the agents know how to send it through the transaction, but then the admin assigns it on through. Or maybe you've got agents who are a little reluctant to use the system or not too tech savvy, and you want them to send everything just to their unassigned docs mail drop address, right? Just send everything there. Don't worry about or have them worry about separate transaction mail drop addresses or anything like that. Just give them one unassigned docs mail drop address. They send everything there, and then admin determines where they need to go and sends it on through. Okay. Or maybe you've got the scenario where you've got savvy agents and a low admin staff, meaning not much admin staff, and the agents need to actually push it on through to the transaction. Then you can give them the upload permission and they can get it all the way through to the transaction without any admin intervention. Okay? So different options there. And I wanted to sort of start with that just to really give you that ability to set your framework for how you want everything to flow through unassigned docs, because it can be a really critical area as far as managing how the agents work, how the admins work, etc. Okay? So that said, I'm going to touch briefly also on using locations to help manage that workflow. If you've got teams, if you've just got a core team and everyone needs to work within the same space, then that's fine. But if you've got teams where, let's say, an admin manages a certain group of agents, etc., then you can set up teams or locations. Use the locations feature to set up teams. And that way, when you've got an admin working in unassigned docs, they're only seeing their team's documents, right? Reducing the noise for them, allowing them to work a lot easier. And also, from a security standpoint, only allowing them to see the docs that they should have access to see. Okay? And we've talked about locations a lot. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but if you've got questions, feel free to reach out. We've got information on our help site about setting up locations for teams, etc. But that's really helpful if you have teams to set that up that way, because unassigned docs is a critical area for managing the docs within a team. Okay? A helpful tip to train agents or admin on is to put the property address into the email subject field. That way, when they mail in docs, you've got an additional cue about where this document is bound. Okay. Also, the bulk assign feature. If you need to assign multiple docs at a time, you can check off several of them if they're going to the same transaction, and then assign docs, and go ahead and do them all at once. Okay. We encourage you to use doc labels on unassigned docs particularly if you've got several admins working in unassigned docs and you need to categorize these in whatever way you need to categorize them. They're color-coded, they're fully customizable, so whatever labels work for you, you can actually do that. Okay, and popular ones that we see are needing signature, some offices will assign the docs to certain people, etc. Okay. Couple of other things here over on the left, a lot of people don't realize, especially when you're kind of wondering what has happened to a doc that was in unassigned docs and you can't find it in the transaction now, let's say. You can view the assignment history for the docs, which will show you the fate of all the docs that were in unassigned docs. Okay, so where they actually ended up being assigned to. And I shouldn't say the fate of all the docs because they could have actually been deleted. And if they were, you would see them here in the deleted docs section. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it that I've got for y'all today as far as the unassigned docs area. Really, it's just a matter of, again, setting it up so that depending on what your office's workflow is from an admin versus agent staff, and then allowing the system to reflect that.